No intro today, folks. We are getting straight into this.
Talk about Sony and how it looks as though they are pulling the emergency ripcord with Marathon. Now, all joking aside, I highly doubt that they will actually cancel the game. These corporations often labor under the sunk cost fallacy. That is the logical fallacy which suggests that you can't give a project up if you've spent so many resources on it, because then the resources spent will be wasted. The idea is that resources you've put into a bad project are already wasted though, and putting more resources into it in order to justify the wasted resources actually just ends up wasting more resources. These corporations often employ this bad logic, which is why so many of the bad woke games, which were first conceived back around 2020 or so, that's why a lot of them still saw the light of day, even though the culture has drastically shifted in the past 4 or 5 years. Marathon is a game that was also conceived during that time frame, though I wouldn't call it explicitly woke or anything like that. They just labor under the delusion that people will be interested in playing as the ugly, androgynous character aesthetic.
Yeah, no. Gamers aren't stupid. Remember what happened with Forspoken. They're not gonna do that. How come Sony isn't learning from Concord? I'm baffled. How come nobody at Sony or Sony Japan would know of this? Honestly, I think you might as well just play Marvel Rivals. Or perhaps The First Descendant. Yeah, The First Descendant may be kaput or anything. We all know live service, despite whether it's famous or not, the trend will die down eventually. Yes, there are some people who will still play it. For me, I played a few, then again I had to uninstall because I'll still be playing it. Reason I uninstalled it first because I need to save space for games such as Stellar Blade, Lost Soul aside. I'm saving some space for those.
Aggressive game devs fail to understand about gamers is just how important the main character's aesthetic is to whether or not we buy a game. Good-looking female characters and manly, heroic characters, both of which completely conform to the so-called cisgender paradigm that these people hate so much, that is the proper way to market a game. And anything less than that is just leaving money on the table. I suppose if you're marketing a game for kids or something, you can get by with a cute character design like Sackboy or Astrobot or something like that. Anyhow, Sony is definitely having flashbacks to Concord right about now, and they've decided to do something about it. This article here is from The Game Post. It says here, Bungie's Marathon is likely to be delayed as a new report claims Sony has now canceled all paid marketing plans. And we have seen this behavior before. Last year, a few months prior to the originally planned launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows, Ubisoft quietly shelved their marketing campaign. You may remember, as an example, that at the Tokyo Game Show, this Japanese-themed game was conspicuously nowhere to be seen, even though it was set to release in about a month and a half at that point. Of course, Shadows was announced as being delayed a week or so later. This is the same type of behavior that we're seeing from Sony.
Oh, wow. If my calculation is correct, this thing is 700% cooked. And the reason why Assassin's Creed Shadows skipped Tokyo Game Show because of the Japanese. They knew the Japanese government, or in this case the whole of Japan, hates Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yes, normies love it. Disrespecting our culture is a different thing. Whether you like it or not, it's a different thing. And guess what? Schedule 1 beat the shit out of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Well, let's see what Dr. Disaster had to say.
Bungie's upcoming shooter, Marathon, just can't seem to catch a break. What started as a highly anticipated closed alpha test has hit roadblock after roadblock, leaving fans wondering if the game will actually see the light of day this year. Let's skip down to here though, where it says, now a new report claims that Sony has canceled all paid marketing plans for Marathon. This information comes from Colin Moriarty, who shared the news in the latest paywalled episode of the Sacred Symbols podcast. This reportedly came from someone familiar with the marketing efforts in an overseas market and is considered a fairly unusual move for a game of this high profile. I was told by someone familiar with the marketing plans in a key overseas market that there are now no plans to do paid marketing for Marathon at all, Moriarty said during the podcast. I don't know if those plans were affected by what has recently happened or if that was always the plan or whatever, but it is considered a fairly unusual move for a game of this high profile. With everything going on, the art plagiarism controversy, mixed to negative feedback from the closed alpha, and now no paid marketing plans from Sony, it's hard not to see a delay on the horizon. Pushing forward with the planned September 23rd launch could honestly make things even worse for Bungie and Marathon. So yeah, I agree. It would make things worse to release the game without fixing at least something about it. The gameplay, the character design, the lack of PvE, the lack of proximity chat. They have got to change something.
Don't forget server issues. You guys remember Suicide Squad killed the Justice League? Now look, here's the thing. Regardless of when you want, if you're a game developer or anything, whether you want to justify either $50, $60, or $70 or $80 or even $100, then here's what you need to do. You have to make sure the game is playable, no bugs, no glitches, no server issues, characters appealing, and everything is mostly playable, and then gamers will play it. But if you release a game with broken product, bugs, glitches, and with performance issues and unappealing characters, then why bother justifying a $60 game, let alone $80 or $100? For that matter, you might as well go free to play. But even free to play is not even feasible either, unless you can convince the players. Sony, what are you trying to do? For me, I think during the PS3, or I never exactly tried the PS3 to be honest. I think after the PS2 era, my trust for Sony PlayStation is done. So the Sony PlayStation that I knew, that I grew up with, is not the same anymore. I miss the good old days. If they do go ahead with their planned release date September 23rd, would it be a bad idea for them to go ahead for the September 23rd release date as planned? Because we all know it's a bad idea. It's not going to do well. We all can see that from a mile away. And so far, it's been quiet. Marathon director hasn't said anything. Well, except for the live stream about the art plagiarism. They can't say anything. I think they're embarrassed after that live stream. I had to think that way. What is Sony's doing by continue this live service crusade? Black Myth Wukong proves that single player is still a thing. Here's the thing, I think Sony probably seen Marvel Rivals success. I mean, I think they saw Black Myth Wukong success, but at the same time they saw live service success, which to them reinforced the belief that live service will be the new norm, which it's not. Single player is still a thing. Black Myth Wukong proves it. And Stellar Blade as well. Sony, you really need to stop. I mean, seriously, why are you allergic to giving gamers what they want? A good game. Gamers just want good game. That's all we ask. It's not rocket science, it's not that hard.
This is...
It's a place to honor the dead. They're still waiting for the salvation Mother Sphere promised them.
There.
I want to send the memories left here to Mother Sphere. That's where they belong.
I'll help.
Me too.
Leave a like and subscribe if you want gaming news, gaming theories, or you just want to see me play games. Visit my first, third, and fourth channel up here or link in the description.